can you kind of walk us through a little bit of score? Does anybody get a score of 10 out of 850? Like, what's the baseline?
I was going to get political for a second and say what, 10, but I won't. So at any rate, the score ranges from 300 on the low end to 850 on the high end. 300 is so bad that they can't even pay in cash. They're like, you can't even come into the store. 850 is like God came down from the heavens and etched your credit score on a tablet. It's carried down a mountain and praised by all. Like, you know, nobody has an 850 and nobody has a 300, no matter what they say. But what's considered good has really changed over time. So when when I started off in mortgages a million years ago, if you had above a 620 score, you were considered A paper. They gave you the best rate and you can get whatever program you wanted. Now with 620, they're going to slap you across the face and say, don't come into our bank ever again.
Wow.
During the last recession, what's considered a decent score moved up to a 700. So if you get 700, that's okay. That's the bare minimum of what you need to get a jumbo mortgage, which in Manhattan means, you know, a 200 square foot studio. But you know, like they wouldn't.
500 if you're borrowing 586,000. I think is the number, something around there.
Right. So if you are looking for a jumbo mortgage and you have a 699 score, it doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't matter how many millions in the bank you have. They're going to say, nope, you got to have a 700. But what's considered the A+ golden standard right now is a 740. Okay. That's what you want to have in 740 or higher.
Okay. So 740, and then basically anything over 740 is bragging rights?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's great. So that's a score. Now, how do people, what about all these free online credit checkout things, or what's the best way for you to check credit, or these credit cards offer you quote unquote, you know, scores for $10 a month? What do you recommend for people to really see what their credit is?
That's a fantastic question, because a lot of people come to us and say, I can't access, or I can't tell the difference between all these different scores. When I go to one company, they give me one score. I go to another one, they give me another score. They never seem to kind of line up. Where could you get the most accurate credit report from? And this is a secret that I included in my book, but I'll tell it to your crew and your audience. There's a website you can go to get the exact same credit report that lending institutions use to determine whether you get a loan and at what rate. It is www.itdoesn'tfriggin'exist.com. That's with 2 G's and an apostrophe.
Right. I
mean, as I mentioned in the beginning, this whole thing is a game that you're meant to lose. They don't want you to have access to this. So, in fact, when I was writing the book, I wanted to include a sample of what a real proper credit report looks like that the banks, and then just like walk someone through how to read it, because it doesn't look like the cute things you get. And the credit bureaus fought us, and they were like, we don't want this included. And I went to his attorney and said, can they stop this? And he said, no. So I said, put it in there.
So buy the book.
Well, no, actually.
Well, no, first of all, it's awesome you had the book. That's really, really great.
I'll tell you one of the tactics that I list out in the book on how to get the credit report. But you're not going to like me for this, because it's going to make your phone ring.
Okay.
So, bankers can pull these reports, obviously, right?
Yep.
They're not supposed to give you a copy of those reports, of the real report. But if you have a sharp, intelligent, well-connected real estate agent that you happen to know, often they can sweet talk the bankers into providing that report. So I've heard.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Anthony. Any call I'll take. I'll be happy to do that.